Hi everybody, Anthony here from Awesome Anthony Productions, and today I'm going to talk about the latest film to feature the most iconic bloodsucker of all time, The Last Voyage of the Demeter. But before we get started, you know exactly what to do. Please leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you never miss any of my new reviews. Now let's get into it. Directed by Andre Overdahl of Trollhunter and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, The Last Voyage of the Demeter is based on a single chapter from Bram Stoker's Dracula novel. That chapter revolves around the captain's log of the Russian ship the Demeter, as it transports a shipment of 24 suspiciously marked crates with just a dragon on the side from Transylvania to England in the late 1800s. And one of those crates may hold something sinister. But on the ship, there's Captain Elliot, played by Liam Cunningham, his first mate Wojciech, played by David Dastmalchian, the captain's grandson Toby, played by Woody Norman, and the rest of the able-bodied crew, who are joined by a new doctor, Clemens, played by Corey Hawkins, who actually becomes the protagonist of the movie. It's already hard work aboard this ship, with crewmates having tensions between each other to keep things interesting, but then a random woman, Anna, played by Eileen Franciosi, I really hope I pronounced that right,
Aisling Franciosi,
is discovered, stowed away in one of the crates, and she tells of a blood-sucking creature that is stowed on the ship that will stop at nothing until every member of that crew is dead with their blood drained. And what do they call him? Dracula. Dracula? Right away, I want to praise this movie on its production design because damn, do they use their budget well. The green screen and CGI usage is minimal and really doesn't happen until they get out in open water. But besides that, the Demeter itself looks like a fully built out ship, or at the very least, a very convincing set, with plenty of detail and weight and history.
Looks old.
This even extends to the beginning when we see the port in Transylvania. Everything looks real, with 1800s style architecture that was really built out, or at least looks like it was, with just little CGI enhancements here and there that you don't really notice that make the whole thing more believable. And once we're actually aboard the Demeter and the voyage gets started, the production design, the slow burn reveal of Dracula, the great performances, especially from Liam Cunningham, David Dastmalchian, and Corey Hawkins, who absolutely give it their all and feel like they stepped right out from the 1800s.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Cunningham fits that archetype of strict but loving sea captain to the point where he could fit just as well in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie without ever going over the top. And there's a point later where that character gets to flex his dramatic chops, and it really worked for me. David Dastmalchian is always great in my opinion, and as the captain's first mate, he's no different. And he does a great job walking that line of power-hungry, commanding first mate officer that clearly is more confused and terrified as the movie goes on. And with how nuanced that character is written, I can never really tell if I liked him, which is a testament to the writing. Corey Hawkins is the last standout of this movie, being the protagonist. Though the script doesn't let him flex every bit of his range, he gets plenty of moments to be a victim, a hero, an emotional core of the script. His character definitely could have been fleshed out more, but for the material he's given, Hawkins really nails it, and he's a good enough lead to get invested in.
I like you.
A homo.
The rest of the cast are fine and serve their purpose, but they don't really have the deepest of writing, and in the case of a couple of them, they're just not very good. But I'm in praise mode right now, so I'll keep going with the good stuff and we'll circle back around to the bad. While I'm continuing to praise this film, I want to shout out the true star, Dracula himself, played by Javier Botet. An incredibly versatile character actor that uses his unique physique to play really creepy characters like the ghost in Mama, the crooked man from The Conjuring 2, or the leper in the It movies.
What the hell is even that?
He's fucking awesome, and I just love this approach to the character where instead of a seductive, handsome man or a white-faced stereotype from the Bela Lugosi era, this design is straight up monster-like, while still being humanoid and creepy to look at.
You look like an avocado. Had sex with an older, more disgusting avocado.
Yeah. And I appreciated the fact that this Dracula was a monster, like a brutal monster, but still had some intelligence about him with certain things that he did. And anytime the movie involved him stalking someone in the shadows, or attacking them with shockingly savage speed and brutality, I was fully engaged, and frankly just really into it at that point. Like I already said, the deaths are brutal, giving us the obvious bloodshed you'd expect from a vampire movie, but still giving us a lot of gore without ever going over the top. But it's still pretty reserved for a lot of it, and takes its time before getting to Dracula in the first kill, which I appreciate. This makes the movie feel very Alien-inspired in its approach, and apparently it was, with having a crew stuck on a ship with a bloodthirsty demon that is way more than just a dumb, instinct-driven creature. But the kills are still shocking and effective, especially with what rules they're willing to break to get a shock from the audience, and the different ways that they play around with vampire tropes, like neck biting,
I'm fine with this.
or burning in the sun, 10. And whenever they introduce one of these elements of classic lore, it's right at the most dramatic moment. Also love the concept of Dracula evolving more throughout this movie as he feeds. He starts off kind of like a frail little goblin man, and by the end he looks like fucking Man-Bat from the Arkham games, but smarter and scarier. The excellent production design, cast, and slow burn just boost all of that, especially with Bear McCreary's score that drives a lot of the tension during the slower scenes of someone walking around or of Dracula stalking their victim. It's just a shame that the rest of the movie doesn't live up to all this greatness.
What?
This movie might as well be a candy haul on Halloween because it is a mixed bag through and through. The real candy and treats come in with the second act and the climax, though that's not all as sweet as it could be. But the first act, the ending, and a couple of actors in the cast, they're the cough drops, raisins,
Nature's candy. Whoa!
and religious pamphlets sitting at the bottom of the bag.
I got a rock.
Though the production design is great, like I said a few times, and we get a strong intro to the main characters, the beginning is a boring, cliched slog. Featuring the cliched framing device of constables discovering the Demeter and finding the captain's log that will serve as narration through the rest of the film, when it remembers to use it. The cliched moment of, oh no, someone else got picked for this job over the main character, how will he ever end up on the Demeter? Oh wait, that someone has a bad feeling about the voyage, so they're gonna give up their spot to the main character. The blatant attempts at foreshadowing that give you a pretty good idea of how characters may get out of situations when they come up later in the film, and generic feelings of dread and doom by the locals at the port being scared to be out past dusk. I wonder why. Once we get into the second act, this stuff isn't nearly as present or detractful, but there's still little nuggets of it here and there. From the crew having some livestock and a dog, to the point where the second you see them, you know what their fate's gonna be, and that's not a spoiler, that's in the trailer. To some members of the crew believing that there's a monster on board, while some don't, which puts them all in danger. Thankfully, the second act is where we get the brunt of the tension and those great scenes of Dracula stalking and killing the crew members, which kept me on the edge of my seat and helped lessen the not so great parts of the movie, including parts of the story, the script, and the execution of certain scares. Speaking of, there's really only a handful of jump scares here, and the movie thankfully relies more on its imagery and its tone and its tension to get a scare and to raise your heart rate instead of just scaring you with a jolt, which always pisses me off if it's done poorly. But once we get through the admittedly intense and rushed climax, the goofy shit starts to rear its head again, and sticks through until the very ending, aside from one scene that I thought was very emotional and well done. Though I did enjoy the climax and many of its tense, edge-of-your-seat moments, it's very rushed, CGI heavy, good CGI, but still, so much of the movie doesn't have a lot of CGI in it, so it was pretty distracting at that point. And results to some pretty cliched ideas with the whole plan that the last act revolves around. And to mention the ending, I'm not going to go into spoilers, but damn is it clear that Universal wants it to be a horror franchise. The ending feels so tacked on and is completely tonally dissonant from the rest of this slow burn, small scale horror film. And it foregoes any real conclusion for a sequel tease. Are we still getting a dark universe?
Wait till you see the. No.
The last thing that drags this movie down harder than a ship wrecked in the Aegean Sea is the performances of Woody Norman as Toby and Aisling
Franciosi, you idiot.
as Anna. They tried, I will give them that, but neither of them could really sell me on anything.
Well, I ain't buying!
And they kind of took me out of the movie whenever they were on screen, which definitely becomes a distraction as Anna takes on more of a supporting role later in the movie and they try to give her some girl boss moments that don't really feel earned.
Yes, queen!
It's just a shame because whenever this movie isn't using lazy cliches, fumbling the execution on a cool idea, focusing way too much on the future, or just giving too much screen time to the weakest performances in the cast, it works! The lead in Corey Hawkins is great and brings plenty of emotion and charisma to the movie. The cast is strong for the most part. The production design is killer and the sparingly used CGI makes you actually feel like you're aboard the Demeter. And whenever the movie slows down to take its time with Dracula and making sure that he actually is creepy and effective, it's top notch in every department, from the acting to the visuals to the score and cinematography. So I unfortunately can't recommend that you pay full price to see it, but if you have a movie theater membership, want to catch a matinee, or just want to wait to catch it on streaming when it inevitably goes there in 3 freaking weeks, I'd check it out. You probably won't regret it. And I can say that even though I had a lot of complaints, I definitely liked it more than I didn't. And I didn't walk out mad or anything, even though that ending was pretty disappointing. And that's my review of The Last Voyage of the Demeter. If you like this review, you know exactly what to do. Please leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you never miss any of my new reviews. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and with your help, I can do it. While you're at it, you can scroll down, find the links to my socials in the description below, leave a comment, let me know if you saw the movie and what your thoughts are, and lastly, you can click or tap on these cards here. They'll take you to my review of TMNT Mutant Mayhem, or just over to my channel where you can check out my reviews, my shorts, and my old shit. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you next week for my review of Blue Beetle.